Is a hoax. It's faked in the hull of an airplane performing parabolic flight in order to simulate zero gravity. All manned space travel is fake. No one has even been in low Earth orbit. Spacewalks are faked in a float tank. That's why a gallon of water leaked into the guy's spacesuit and he literally almost drowned in space a few months ago. And there's a bubble coming up showing the fakery. Recently there was a National Geographic broadcast supposedly from space, and here's Soledad O'Brien as she flicks to the people in the International Space Station. Now have a look at their feet. There's stabilization bars, blue stabilization bars. The guy in the blue on the right, he's twisting slightly to the right and he lifts up his left knee in order to counteract that rotation. For every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So he lifts up his left leg in order to counterbalance the rotation that comes from the uneven movement of the aircraft as it flies through the air. You can't help but experience these small movements. If this was a real spacecraft, there would be absolutely no movement whatsoever. It would be extremely unexpected and unwelcome if it moved in orbit. There are not a whole bunch of jets on the outside of the International Space Station constantly readjusting its orbit. That's not how things in orbit work. You put them in orbit, you get the exact trajectory, and they stay on track. Now, if you have a look at these two guys, they're using these blue stabilization bars constantly in order to steady themselves. Have a look at those feet adjust back and forth, and he's using that blue stabilization bar to try and stay steady. Constantly back and forth movement. Now he starts to rotate slightly. His feet start to move to his right.
Wow. So Rick, earlier Katie was giving me
right there, and he lifts up his left leg to try and counterbalance the rotation. As he moves away from there, he moves forward. And once again, he hangs on to the bar on the side with his left hand to stabilize himself. This should not be happening in space. Now, this is the same thing sped up. Have a look at the two spheres. One of them is rotating. Through the force of precession, it doesn't move as much. But look at the one on the left. It should be moving in a straight line. Instead, it has this strange curved trajectory. This is not outer space. This is a hoax. And if they're going to fake one thing in outer space, the whole thing is fake. If the International Space Station was really available, they wouldn't go through all this. I mean to do a more in-depth video on this, and I will at some point. You can read more in the video description.
I think what we're going to do is to just talk about numerous astronauts and cosmonauts over the years, right before they made their These guys are the latest three liars going up to, well, going nowhere actually, but they'll tell you they're going to the ISS. Keep an eye on the middle guy. Then the crew members received the traditional blessing. This guy is forever wiping his face and forever grabbing people and doing all kinds of stuff. These guys are supposed to be going to space, and if you recall back in the 60s when they pulled this hoax, remember they all had to be isolated and couldn't be touched. These guys are walking out of some shabby hotel. They're about to check out this guy with his hand in his pocket on the left. He's going to grab at this guy. He's going to shake his hand, and they both have like a bunch of filth or slime or whatever, so they wipe off their hand. They're like, yeah, yucky. I forgot I was supposed to. He reminds me of the guy from the Inspector Clouseau. Remember with the laughing gas? In Clouseau, I will kill you. And Reed Wiseman of NASA on the right. These guys aren't astronauts, man. Look at these guys fake grabbing at him. Look at them. They're not even grabbing at him. They're just putting their hand into the frame. They're making him look out to be like rock stars or something. Idiot. So anyways, recall, if you will. Okay, now they do the little touching family thing, and the little girl looks away. That's not my daddy. You can see the bus departing. No, I just find it funny. I find it real funny that they're in a room with a wooden floor and they're on a Persian rug. Okay, maybe Turkish, something. You get the point. Even maybe a nice Eastern Chinese. And they're putting together this suit, and they're calling it a space. And here he goes with the washing, his wiping and washing, and always for grabbing people. It's probably because he's sweating. You know what happens is when you dye your hair, and that was about 4.5 hours. The next day you're all sweaty because he over dyed it, so his scalp's sweating, and that's what's happening. As you can tell, he just dyed his hair. It's a horrible, Horrible dye job. All right, but that's not even the main point. The main point is nobody's going into space. Look at this. It looks like it's in some... So they have this equipment on rickety tables, on Persian rugs, whatever, in a room full of dust. And finally you see air masks, or not air masks, but just the face covers. But their hands are uncovered. Right? You do see all this is all a big joke. So now let's move forward to the... to where they're talking to their family, and they're putting these little suits into use.
Thank you.
All right. Poopy suits. Poopy suits. Poopy suits. Poopy suits. Poopy 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 suits.
And at this point, you can see each of the crew members conducting those pressurization checks on their Soka launch and entry suits. These again done to ensure the
Yeah, you might want to go ahead and rethink that.
integrity of all of the seals on the suits prior to the crew making their way to the launch pad.
There's a woman coming up in the audience here. I want you to take a real good look at. Not that one. The one that's in the audience. She's going to be on the cell phone. We're going to grab a snapshot of her because I watched this twice and she looks very, very familiar to me. But I would like to bust it before I put this thing up. She's let me just show you. It's coming up soon. So anyways, each one of these clowns go through. Look, they're on another rug in this dirty old dusty room, pretending to get ready to go into space,
room,
don't you
with
know?
the three cosmonauts, you'll see
with all this high-tech equipment
backup crew for tonight's launch.
right here,
It's Anton Shkaplerov,
checking the
Russian
pressurized
space
pressure
agency,
suit
Samantha Christopher Reddy,
of the
another
Koborski
European Space
poopy
Agency
suits.
astronaut, and NASA astronaut Terry Virg.
Look how hard, no, watch this guy. Watch how hard he's pretending that he has to walk. And watch as this goes on, as this happens, these guys forget this is supposed to be hard to do. And they're going to start just moving their arms about and swinging around. In fact, when Baldy here pulls up his chair, because he's the third one to go through this little hoax scenario, he'll just whip that chair under him like he's just stepping into a bar, man. Right here, that woman, man. Yeah, anyways, this is a side point, but that looks like a dead ringer for the character under plastic surgery, once known as Marcia Clark, the so-called O.J. Simpson prosecutor. She had some plastic surgery done, which is well known. That absolutely, to me, looks like the same character. So, of course, the O.J. Simpson trial, you know, you knew that was a hoax, right? All of that stuff. That goes back to Capricorn 1. That goes back to the movie O.J. Simpson played in. The fake Mars landing. Hoax, lie.
A protective pane of glass to maintain their quarantine status.
See, it's all just a big joke. See how the thing's not even closed? Give me a break,
NASA
son.
and European Space Agency officials
Come on
and
now.
managers, along with the friends and family.
These are literally props. Movie props. You can see that, right? These are movie props. All these guys are now, they're starting to get tired. See, so they're forgetting protocol now. They're just all standing around. See, watch this guy. See how they're supposed to be helping him move like it's really tough? Watch how he's all hunched over walking, right? Like he's really moving his feet around. He's like, oh, help me sit down. Help me move. Okay, move this in. Okay? Oh, thank you. Oh, it's really tough going right there. Woof. Really tough stuff. Yeah, help me move the chair in. Now let's watch this last guy. I call this guy like the, I don't know, he's kind of like the jock character. Always waving forever, like smiling too much. And then watch him when he gets off. He just whips that chair underneath him like he owns the place. He's like, man, I don't need no help from you. You know, that just proves that all they're doing is fake movements. They're pretending. Now here's the fake touching conversation with the kids. How high are you going to be? 25? That's your 7? He's a liar.
We'll give Max gravity, and Max will hang him up on the hatch, and then we'll close the hatch, make sure he looks just right, and then
Now notice the reflection of the kid in the glass and the hands right below his chin. Watch the hands. It's going to be a classic now you see it, now you don't trick. Make no mistake about it. There is no chance that is not there for a reason. No chance whatsoever. Watch again.
Right now. And then I'll get in first, and I'll go get in my seat, and this guy named Ildar, a very good guy, he's going to strap me all in, and then he'll strap Alex in. And then when Max comes down, Ildar will give Max Giraffe, and Max will hang him up on the hatch, and then we'll close the hatch, make sure he looks just right, and then we'll be ready to roll.
Sounds technical.
I am unbelievably excited. Excited to go in. I don't know. Hopefully I'm just...
How far do you be from Earth?
I will only be about 250 miles. So, like from Texas...
Okay, now watch this idiot. He's like, oh yeah, okay, I got this, man. I'll go ahead and handle this.
I might be able to...
Let me just go whip this chair underneath here. Like, yeah, don't even worry about that. I got it. Yeah, don't even... Hey, what are you doing, Grab? Let me just give me that shit. You people think we're going to space, man. It's funny.
Oh, by the way, your cousin Steve moved in already. He's keeping me company for the 6 months. Don't worry. I'll see you later, buddy.
Yeah, but we don't look as good as some other... I'm with you, Ellie. I'm so glad we got to hug each other in Star City. Those were great hugs. We got good pictures.
Do you like us with our space and luggage?
Preparations were complete. Final farewells were said. The crew
We walk in step with our space luggage.
Farewell to everyone
Come
as they
say
walk
hello
down.
to us. We'd love to say hello to you before we go. It's the same rent-a-mob that was back at the hotel. Now let's go ahead and break our quarantine
Of the
once again.
The crew of Expedition 4041 is ready.
Give me that bare naked hand and give me those germs. Please, more germs.
The crew speaking with the Russian space.
Please, even more germs.
It's great when it rains.
Whatever that means.
It's good for the road. Maxim, good luck. Good
Do you
luck to
notice we
all.
got the poopy suits on?
And again, with those farewells complete, the crew members boarding their bus at about 11:57 a.m. Central Time today for the ride over to launch pad number 1. That drive typically takes about 25 minutes.
Oh, did they say
The crew were
11:57?
able
Of
to
course.
arrive at the
That's
pad at
377.
12:22 p.m. Central Time, so just this afternoon.
Give me a
from
big
us here
hug.
in
Go
Houston.
ahead and give me more of your skin onto my clean suit. Oh, come around here, baby. Let's do the walk with our space luggage.
Mr. Chairman of the State Commission, the crew is here at the launch pad.
Give me some of that space debris on my throat more. Give me some skin. You're under arrest for impersonating an astronaut. All of you will be coming in for questioning. Now walk up to the top of the stairs and wave. Then we will cut to a different scene entirely and pretend you're going to the top.
Thank you.
Arrivederci!
And with that, the 3 crew members waving goodbye at the
With
pad
the
and
space
boarding
luggage!
for the ride to the top of the Soyuz rocket in order to board into their Soyuz capsule.
This is just at the beginning of the depancing of the space hoax. More's to come.
All the best. And have a great flight.
You are too. We don't go anywhere. We don't go into space. It's all a hoax. Look at us go around the corner, and then we will cut to a different version. See, all of a sudden, there we go. You never noticed nothing. You just do as we say, okay? Nobody go to space. Nobody.
Hey friends, let's take a look at something that was put up in 2006, that an incident that happened in 1996. Some scam by NASA. Apparently they wanted to take out the Orion's belt with some electronic device, and it's a joke. I mean, if you believe in NASA at all, then you'll buy this bullshit. But here we go.
Overload of electrical energy fluctuating between 2 and 10 times that predicted due to inaccurate estimates in the electrical charge of the Earth's magnetic fields, ionosphere, and possibly space radiation fried the tethered conductor cable and it broke, severing it from the space shuttle.
You hear that?
The tether has broken at the boom. The tether has broken and it's going away from us. Get it on the TV, Clark. Please get it on the TV.
What a crock of shit.
Copy.
What a crock of shit. And flying objects. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Now we're going to buy this.
Now 77 nautical miles
This is so much shit, guys. Do you really believe this stuff?
The crew can see the tether and see the satellite. It's beautiful.
Yeah, ain't that a joke? Okay, now look at all this debris that's supposed to be flying around. How come we never see it in any other videos? All that debris just disappears. It's bullshit, guys. Get it? It's all
this
bullshit.
View showing...
I can't handle no more of this, okay? This is more of the hype that people believe in NASA. And here's what they're saying. That because they try to take down the Orion belt, radiation belt, they can get further into space. They ain't never got into space. Hey, figure it out, guys. You're rats in a bowl. You're not getting off this earth until you do the right thing. Alright? You ain't getting there. And believe me, CERN ain't going to open the trapdoors in the filament that are there, okay? You guys got it all figured out, dum-dums. So live with what you want to live with. Believe what you want to believe, but I'm telling you right now, this is more bullshit from NASA from 1996. Okay, it was reposted in 2006. For some strange reason, there's a bunch of people want to repost this crap here in 2015 to try to convince you that there is a globe, and this shit is real, and NASA is believable, even though they show an incident of an accident where it escaped away from them. Okay, it's bullshit, guys. Wake up. The old Marine 1 on the 21st of June, 2015. Hug the kids, hug the wife. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, this is Will. I just wanted to show you this kind of questionable thing about the International Space Station, and I would definitely love if anyone can give me the answers. This is not what I'm questioning. This looks like it's through water, right? Definitely looks like it's through water. Doesn't look like space, but that's not what I'm talking about. And actually, what I would like is the flat earthers and the people who say that the International Space Station is fake. I want to see if you can debunk this. Okay, so here's this astronaut. What he's going to do is he is going to supposedly, he says this is the back. He's going to zoom all the way forward. And I don't know how he's doing this. Okay, let me pause. There's a couple of different explanations for the International Space Station. They say, okay, well, it's under the water, and or they do shots and it's the back of the airplane and they're doing parabolic flight, or they're strung up and they are suspended. Well, with this movement through it, now it seems as if you can see underneath him. With this movement through him, it's longer than a parabolic flight. His movements don't act like he's underwater. Just doesn't make sense. So these normal explanations do not make sense. So is this proof that there are astronauts in the International Space Station in low Earth orbit? Or is this showing that there's a lie even larger than it? See right there. Okay, look, you just saw right there. It seems as if he goes past a mirror. Okay? And I don't think you can really see anything there. I just don't. Of course, if there would need to be a trolley system or something over this entire area. Now, if anything, he's probably being suspended from the bottom. I don't know. I don't have an explanation for this. It doesn't look like his shirt's lifting up or anything. The back of his pants looks a little weird there, but I don't know that that's anything. I don't know that that's anything nefarious. Not at all. I definitely like your guys' opinion on this. I'd like to see what you think. Of course, he's moving all around there. Definitely looks as if he's dragging himself through 0G. Now he says, look, we're at the front. Sorry, guys. Definitely appreciate that. I appreciate your input on this, and I'd like to see what you think. What do you think? Do you think he was... Do you think it was held up? Do you think this is legit? I love all viewpoints. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
What the big picture is here, which we haven't actually talked about between us, is extraterrestrial involvement.
You've got to be very careful about that. Just put the question bluntly, most people, all the alternative media and a lot of people now, just look, go back to the 50s, right? If you ask the ordinary man in the street in Walthamstow in England whether he believes in aliens, he'd laugh his head off and go and get some pie and mash. If you ask him today, he may well say, yeah, there has got to be something, because he's educated, he knows that vast the universe.
And he's being conditioned by Hollywood movies and television series. Which is all part of what we are being prepared to come to terms with this.
But not for the reasons you think.
For what reasons?
They're going to have nothing to do with us. They're there. If you,
the ETs are going to have...
Let's call a spade. Yeah, they exist. There is no conjecture. They do. Yeah, there is stuff. But you know what? That's no big surprise to 50% of people, shall we say.
Right.
But that number's gone up, hasn't it? More and more people realise, more important, NASA have got more and more slapdash about, and cannot, because of the very thing they've created, the media monster behind trying to get money for the space race.
Yes.
Is still there from the 60s.
Yes.
And there is a lot of people that are very interested in it. And so because of that, cameras are on the shuttle. And because of the internet and various people that are clever with the internet, Mr. McKinnon and people like that, who I know very well.
Did you know Gary McKinnon?
I'll tell you a story about him later on.
Off record?
Yeah.
That's a shame. Okay. All right. We're talking about cameras on the shuttle and people who are clever with computers.
What I'm trying to say is you can't, there's so many now.
Yes.
You can't keep your lid on everything.
You're saying it's impossible to hide the reality.
And there's a certain piece of video that is quite prevalent on the internet of a circular thing rolling behind a tether.
Yes, I know that one.
That's factual.
Yes.
A couple of miles across, but it's not a ship, and things aren't what you think they are out there. You should regard space more as an ocean.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got no right to turn around and say intelligent or unintelligent, because then what you're doing, you're comparing things to your intellect, aren't you?
Okay.
And how can you compare that to a human?
Are you stating this as a fact?
Absolutely.
A fact. And what you're talking about here is you're talking about large living beings, like big kind of...
And small.
And small living beings.
Look at it this way, if you've got a shark swimming through the ocean, he's got fish swimming all around him most of the time, picking up morsels. servicing him, and he doesn't eat them. They go right in his mouth.
Yes, yes, yes.
And come out. You know, that's a natural thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it so far-fetched for you to understand that that could be the situation out there?
Okay. But at the same time, there are some what we could regard as metallic craft, things that you could call spacecraft,
right,
as well.
Yeah.
Right.
But tell you what, I've got an axe to grind here, so let me grind my axe. Right?
You do that.
Okay, so here you are. You're an alien. Yeah, you're on the other side of the universe, right? For instance, yeah, you're in Orion. Yeah, you're that far away. Yeah, you're in your ship and you're flying all the way here, and you cross intergalactic space in a fantastic piece of machinery. Yeah. And then you crash in Nevada.
Right.
Rubbish.
Okay.
Rubbish. You're shot down.
Okay.
That's what happened to you.
Yes.
Because you didn't think that there was any kind of particle weapon or kinetic weapon that could do that.
Yes.
Well, you wasn't prepared because it was the first time you came.
Yes. That was, it got something to do with radar, wasn't it? They discovered that radar would actually do this.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Well, it was quite an aggressive... It wasn't an accident.
Okay. I've got you. So you're saying that the so-called crashes weren't crashes, they're actually offensive actions which were discovered...
And I ask you to understand that because you don't cross intergalactic space and then crash in Nevada, do you?
I understand that.
You see, that's my axe there, so sorry, go on.
I've got you, that's fine. So you're saying that initially there was a way of bringing the craft down that was discovered by accident, and then it was, more or less, and then it was fairly quickly...
It was a deliberate attempt.
Utilised.
Amazing that it worked.
Yes, right.
And then when it did, so
it's a lucky hit, and then they started to get focused about it.
Yeah, well, they realised that it could be done, and then went down the avenue of trying to figure out how they done it and what actually did cause it, and they needed to look at the thing they brought down to do that.
Yes, and then
they educated them, so they became much better at it.
Yes, because then you got the Americans mainly, I guess. Was it only the Americans? Did this happen in every country?
No, let's drop the borders and the nationalities.
Okay. So then you got people who are pretty smart, who got their hands on this ET technology, and that was never part of the setup. That was never part of the plan, was it? It was never part of the plan.
No.
Okay. And what kind of problems has that caused?
Well, you know what we're like. It's not caused... They want to go. We're going to be the visitors.
So that's what the selection's about. Okay, it's about creating a sort of space crew or a
and remember,
new...
this is second-hand, so...
I understand that. A new breed of humanity who will be well equipped to go off into the cosmos like the Crusaders.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Crusaders.
Like the Crusaders. And it's like you give... It's like you've got the spirit of the Crusaders and you give them extraterrestrial technology to move with.
There you go.
And then...
And are any of us in any doubt that we're going to start planet hopping within the next century? Are you actually in any doubt with the technologies available now? Because we're doing it with robots.
Personally, I'm in no doubt at all that we've got a Mars base.
Oh, right, okay.
Is this something you've ever heard about?
Yes.
Okay. Can you say anything about that?
No.
All right. Okay. Do you want that off record?
No.
Okay. All right.
Pieces are within the law so long as they're based upon facts, not advocacy. And I expect our agencies to adhere to that ruling, to that Justice Department opinion. This has been a long-standing practice of the federal government to use these types of videos. Agricultural Department, as I understand, has been using these videos for a long period of time. The Defense Department, other departments have been doing so. It's important that they be based upon the guidelines set out by the Justice Department. Now, I think it'd be helpful if local stations then disclose to their viewers if that's, that this was based upon a factual report and they chose to use it. But evidently in some cases that's not the case. So anyway.
To guarantee that's happening by including that language in the prepackaged report.
Yeah, I don't, look, oh, you mean a disclosure on George W. Bush and I?
Well, some way to make sure it couldn't air without the disclosure that you believe is so vital.
Ken, I mean, there's a procedure that we're going to follow, and the local stations ought to, if there's a deep concern about that, ought to tell their viewers what they're watching.
It's a fake.
Hi guys, this is Gabriel. I was on Facebook and I saw this meme. It says Pluto is fake. You can download the original image off the NASA website and open it in a Photoshop program, and you'll see that it's been cut and Pluto's been cut and pasted on a black background. So, and they include a video link here, and I open that up. Right off the bat, I see this is not Photoshop. This is what they consider a Photoshop program. Also, this adjustment they use is not brightness. It appears to say on this fuzzy video that it's a fill light. Fill light can mean different things in different programs. Often it means that it's adding light, not simply brightening the light that's already there. And as he adjusts this and zooms in, you'll start to see this pixelation that occurs along the edges. And you can't really see much of anything else. And this video is actually corrupted, so right there it stops, and you can't see if he finds any other evidence in this video. And I guess the pixelation is what he's using as proof that this image was cut and pasted. So I wanted to go ahead and take a look at this image that I downloaded it from the NASA website, open it up in Photoshop. Now let's first zoom into the section that he shows on the video, and let's go ahead and adjust the brightness. Now let's go ahead and do the contrast too, and you can't see a whole lot. Looks a lot different than they did in his video. And we'll go ahead and do the levels. Now, the thing is, if this was copied and pasted and they did a really bad job, I might expect this edge to be perfectly smooth. But this is jagged, and that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it happens in real life. And as an example, I have this image here. It's shot with a Canon from the Earth of the Moon. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. So I'm going to do the brightness and contrast. And you can see that the edge is rough. It's not perfectly smooth. And that's exactly what I expect it. And we'll go ahead and do the levels too. And you see all this pixelation that occurs. And that's because the camera will often pick up dust and different things in the atmosphere. And when you adjust the levels, it'll bring it out. It'll give it a really pixelated look. And you can see all around the edge of this, it's all blocky, just the way you would expect it to be. Now, I will say one weird thing about this photo, but it's true for all NASA photos. Everything in the background here is perfectly black. There's no deviation. And you might expect that they do... See, when you do photography, you do have to expose your shot for the subject that you're photographing. So you match the lighting to that, and oftentimes dimmer things in the background can just fade off into black. But that being said, I still would kind of expect there to be some kind of deviation, distortion in the background, and you see absolutely nothing. And that's common for all NASA images. Apparently, they've never been able to develop a camera with higher dynamic range, and they've never figured out how to take a shot at multiple exposures and composite them together to create a HDR image that would show all the stars. I mean, pretty simple stuff, but NASA never does that, and these are always the types of photos that we get. But as far as the videos claim, I don't see any evidence that this was copy and pasted. I just don't see it. And I wanted to make this video because you need to do proper research if you're going to just download an image program, play around with the settings, and you see something weird. Confirm what you see with somebody that knows what they're doing. Don't just, especially when you don't know what you're looking at, don't just make assumptions and then rush off to create a meme, upload it, it gets spread around, starts going viral, and then somebody that absolutely loves NASA, they come along and they make everybody look silly by pointing out the truth that there is no evidence of copy and paste here. So we don't want to do that, guys. We want to do proper research and not pass around false or misleading information. All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
It's a fake.
You can hear the jet engines. This is Catherine Ketty Coleman's tour of the fake International Space Station. The jet engines are really loud.
This node 1 where we keep a lot of our sort of supplies, general supplies.
But one thing I thought was funny was this part. They're medical experiments.
So sometimes we're doing a medical experiment.
Pee in a tube.
We're trying to understand what's happening to our bodies up here, especially with respect to bone loss and things like that. And so actually what we'll do is when we go to the bathroom, we'll actually collect samples, which is easier to do than you might think.
Easier to do than you might think. What do we think? Let's talk about that for a minute. They use the bathroom and they collect the urine into those tubes. And it's easier than you might think. How is this done exactly?
Swallowing thing I wouldn't recommend at home.
So you can hear jet engines in this video too, because she's on a plane.
Number 2, right here.
This is the bathroom.
I'll show you.
You sit on that little tube with your butt cheeks and you take a crap. It apparently has suction.
Make sure things get let go the right direction.
Do you notice how clean this is? Do they clean the inside of that tube? Apparently the suction is so strong that crap doesn't touch the sides of this thing. Because there's not really a seat for this, when this thing is sucking the crap out of your anus, does it pull you down? Are you stuck? Now she has to pretend that this is real, so she's going to pretend that it stinks, even though she's putting her hands all over it.
And it smells a little bit, so I'm closing it up.
Yeah, close that thing up because it smells like shit.
And this guy...
Now she's going to show you a separate funnel that they use for urinating. And it's the same for both guys and girls. And she also says you can go number 1 and number 2 at the same time. So you can press this funnel against your vagina while you're sitting on this fake crapper.
And it smells a little bit, so I'm closing it up. And that's of course for number 2. And this guy right here is for number 1. So they're sort of 2 slightly separate functions, but you can do a little, essentially both by hanging on right here and doing number 1 and number 2.
So you can do number 1 and number 2, even if you're a female. Because she would know because she's a female. And she hangs on while the suction is pulling her crap out of her anus, and she presses that funnel against her vagina. And apparently that has suction too. Now if you're a guy, is the suction so strong that you just point your penis at it and hopefully the urine goes flying into the right direction, into the air that's being funneled into that thing? Or do you put your penis inside of that funnel and you touch the yellow part? Well, that might hurt. And what if you're a woman? That gets pressed against your vagina and it sucks on your vagina while you urinate, right? And this is both the same for guys and girls. Do they clean this thing afterwards? I just bring it up because she says these urine collection experiments are done easier than we might think. Well, what exactly do we think? We're not told how they do these things. So, are we wrong in what we might think? How is urine collected into these little tubes, especially if you're a woman? Do they have a funnel that you pee in that's separate than the one that's in the bathroom? Do you press that against your vagina? Does it collect the urine that way? It pulls air and urine into a compartment, and then it separates this air and urine, and it puts the urine into these little tubes, and it's easier than we might think. Does each woman get a different funnel for her vagina? Is it different for guys? They're worried about bone loss because they're in 0G and they have to maintain their heart rate and have to constantly work out even though they can't shower and they only take sponge baths. But how does the funnel against the vagina work? Because you know, if you're a woman and you're using the restroom, you might have to wipe front to back. I know there's some women that spread the lips and they're pretty skilled at peeing into the toilet standing up. That's a skill that some women have. It's pretty funny. They could be in the restroom standing and their feet are pointing the different way. And women could be freaked out like, what in the fuck? Is that a transgender? But yeah, doesn't the funnel have to go against the vagina? How are you peeing into that funnel, and why is it universal? Why is it unisex? How are you collecting these urine samples? Why is your hair permed? Do they shave their legs? They don't have to shave their legs? Why would you go to outer space with a full set of hair when you can't shower properly? How many times a day are you taking sponge baths since you constantly have to work out to maintain your heart rate? See, we have a lot of questions, but we can't get the answers from NASA because they will not answer the public's questions. Hell, while we're on the subject of questions, let's ask some more questions. Truth Media Revolution uploaded this video about NASA's latest picture of Earth from space. Over 40 years due, but we finally got one. The whole Earth. NASA releases its first unstitched image since 1972. And it matches the Apollo quality photos of Earth from space that are supposed to be genuine photography. Over 40 years, and we finally get a real picture of the Earth from space that is not a composite. And the quality of this image matches perfectly with the Apollo missions. Even though that was taken with a Hasselblad camera using film, and this is supposed to be taken from a geostationary satellite that's there all day long, so this didn't have to take over 40 years to get a real image because these satellites have always been there, right? Satellites are old technology. And is this a digital camera? Why is the photography the exact same as the Apollo missions, which used film? Did they attach a Hasselblad camera to this satellite for this image? Where are the pictures of Earth from space if these satellites are sitting there all day long and all you have to do is press a button? You can have cameras in space, can't you? There should be thousands, if not millions of pictures, beautiful images of Earth from space. Everybody knows David Johnson. I left an important comment. Let's see if the public can think about what they're being told. People need to use their brains. They can do it despite the brainwashing. You can find some fake videos of the Earth recorded from geostationary orbit. They're on the Dish Network. They're shown to the public. They're ridiculous. The moon doesn't even follow the proper orbit. They're fake. They show you how far out these geostationary satellites are supposed to be as well. You can look at them. Look how far away those are from the planet. You can have cameras in space, both digital and cameras that use film, like in the Apollo missions, so we are led to believe. SpaceX released an image of Earth from space, and they only showed the public one image. Supposedly, this was digital. It looked like shit. Why would you only take one picture of the Earth from space if you sent something away from the planet? Especially if it's digital. It's not like they're using film. They can take pictures all day long. They can even take video. But no, we get one fake fucking image from SpaceX, and it looks like absolute shit. And supposedly it was digital. That's all they can afford. People believe in satellites. So there are thousands of satellites, right? This is what people believe. So for decades now, there should be thousands of beautiful pictures of Earth from space. At least thousands. They would actually look beautiful too, but when you type Earth from space in an image search, all you get is crap. Come on, people. All they have to do is push a button, right? In the real world, if NASA was legitimate science, when you search for images of the Earth from space, you wouldn't see repeats and quote-unquote composites, which they had to make, 40-year-old Apollo images, and cartoons over and over and over again. These images are repeated. They don't just come up, these stupid images. They are repeatedly showing up in the images as you scroll down. You don't even have thousands of fake images of Earth from space that should exist. They should be making these. They would all be fake, but they would exist. The fake images don't even exist. There's supposed to be thousands of satellites, and they're in geostationary orbit as well. That means there could be millions of beautiful pictures of Earth from space by now. Imagine this photography. They don't all have to look like the Apollo missions. You can do various photography. You can have the sun and moon in the pictures. No, we don't get that. And the reason they do not exist is because NASA is complete fraud. They don't even do any work in the solar system. It's all bullshit. They're going to claim that they have found life in the universe in the future, too. Are you going to believe that? Or are you going to say enough is enough and do something about this bullshit? Start looking at evidence and stop being lied to. You're lied to every single day of your life. Learn about the criminal global control that is running our lives and destroying our rights.
It's a fake.
For you guys that understand that NASA is complete bullshit, I suggest you go to Science Friday to the article where it's creating Earth and download this video. It is very important because this composite is being overused just like the Apollo 17 image. And it's ridiculous. People need to understand that not only are they not looking at a real picture of Earth, and they're being shown this thing all the time, but real pictures of the Earth from space don't exist. This video is still on the internet, so it's pretty important. I think you should download it. Maybe you could do commentary over it. And so this video isn't so short, I'll just upload one of my rants. It's all fucked up at the end. I don't know what happened to the audio. But yeah, this is a rant that just wasn't very good. But I do go over that stupid composite in this video. Yahoo News is a complete joke. Here are two articles back to back. One from GameStop, one from BGR News about Grand Theft Auto 5. Here's an article about NASA's moonwalking Apollo astronauts. Where are they now? Hey, where are they now? Let's do a thought experiment. See if you can read this and figure out what's going on. NASA landed 6 missions and 12 astronauts on the moon during the Apollo program. 6 others remained in lunar orbit aboard their Apollo spacecraft. Space.com. We went to the moon and landed on the moon 6 different times in a 4-year period, 1969 through 1972. And we don't go back. We went to the moon and we landed safely and we came back and we didn't die from radiation poisoning. We did this with 60s technology. The 1960s, we went to the moon. The last time we did this was in 1972. In 2022, it's going to become 50 years since all of this. 50. We went to the moon with 1960s technology, and we don't go back. And Russia was in a space race with us, and they never sent anyone to go to the moon, even though we went 6 times in 4 years and demonstrated how safe it is. And we don't go back either. Now, man has landed on the moon 6 times in 4 years, and nobody ever talks about sending the first female astronaut to the moon. And you're supposed to believe there's fucking feminists out there. Where are the goddamn feminists writing letters to NASA? Don't you want the first female astronaut on the moon? Why doesn't Russia get a team of women and send these bitches to the moon? They could have the first female cosmonaut on the moon, and it would make history. We did it with 60s technology. It ended in 1972, and nobody goes back. And what's the deal? Here's a fucking article. Let's read it. Only a handful of men have stood on the moon and looked up at Earth. NASA landed 6 missions and 12 astronauts on the moon during the Apollo program. 6 others remained in lunar orbit aboard their Apollo spacecraft command modules. One mission, Apollo 13, was aborted. Now think about that. We went to the moon 6 times in 4 years, and it was supposed to be 7. We were supposed to have gone to the moon 7 times in a 4-year period. Oh, with the fucking Apollo 13 story. Yeah, that goddamn number, 13. Yeah, we just didn't make it that time. See how ridiculous this is? Could we have gone to the moon 8 times in 4 years? Could we have gone in 10 times in 4 years? Was that possible? Could we have gone to the moon 20 times in a 4-year period with 1960s technology? If they would have built enough fucking rockets, why the fuck not? And we don't go back, and nobody has a problem with this. Did you know that out of those 6 times they landed on the moon, they drove 3 separate times on the moon? Did you know that? They're driving around on the moon. And this shit is still supposed to be on the moon. And the moon is supposed to be lacking in atmosphere. Can you imagine on Earth if you had flags in the sun that were never maintained and this fucking buggy? What would happen to it? What would the sun do to this equipment? And they tell you this shit is still on the moon. The moon isn't supposed to have an atmosphere. What do you think the sun would do to something like that? Why doesn't anybody get a telescope and look at the flags on the moon? There's supposed to be fucking 6 of them. They show you very detailed pictures of galaxies from observatories on Earth. These are in the science magazines. These are shown at universities. They're very highly detailed galaxies from very far away that they claim come from observatories on Earth. And they can't show you shit on the moon. And you know what else? They show you fake models of moons and planets. They can't even take real fucking images of moons and planets. Forget the work that NASA's doing in the solar system. With these observatories and telescopes on Earth, they can't even fucking show you a real picture of the moon Io. They can't show you a real picture of the planet Venus with incredible detail. They can't do it. Oh, but they can show you galaxies from far, far away. You should see these pictures. They're incredible. And yet they can't take a fucking picture of Venus. The most overused image in all of human history is the Apollo 17 image of Earth from space. Now, satellites are supposed to be past low Earth orbit, and because the picture of Earth from space in Apollo 17 was taken with a Hasselblad camera, that means you should be able to take thousands of pictures of Earth from space, because those satellites are out there, very far away from the planet. Look up on Google. They show you how fucking far some of these satellites are. Look at geostationary satellites. You can take a picture of the Earth from that distance. And look, we're going to type Earth from space and go to an image search. This has nothing to do with Apollo 17. Well, the results are different nowadays. There's a lot of other crap that comes up. But there it is, Apollo 17. This picture is in every single science book, not only in the United States, but all over the world. If you open up a science book, you're going to see this fucking picture in it. It's from the 70s. You also get computer graphics. Now, when you type Earth from space in the image search, wouldn't you want to see real pictures of the Earth from space? And if they existed, why would you ever substitute that for anything else? And look at this. This is not a picture of Earth from space. And it's in NASA's Blue Marble series. Did you know that NASA has a Blue Marble series and they don't even have fucking pictures of the Earth from space in it? Well, we're at the bottom. I could click on show more images, but look, here's a composite, NASA's composite. They admit this is not an actual picture of Earth from space. Oh, it's used in a YouTube video, Earth from Space HD, Nova. And I've seen documentaries where this image keeps coming up. And it's ridiculous. They made it. They show you how they make that image. I was scrolling up to show you more of that composite, and here's the Apollo 17 image now. Somebody manipulated it a bit in a paint program. It's still the Apollo 17 image. It looks different. What is up with the people that they can't figure out that there's no pictures of Earth from space? You have any idea how many times this image has been modified? It's fucking insanity. There's supposed to be billions of people on this planet. Why can't they figure out that there's no pictures of Earth from space? This is obviously not real. This is another composite. It's probably in NASA's Blue Marble series. Again, why would you ever use this? Why would you ever substitute real pictures of the Earth for computer graphics? Here's that composite. Look at this douche nozzle. He's like, yay, we get to fool the world some more. How rare is the Earth? How rare are pictures of the fucking Earth? This is supposed to be a real image of Earth from space. That is supposed to be real. And it's fake. Okay, Earth from space. $24.99 on Blu-ray. Nova. They use NASA's composite. This is actually replacing the Apollo 17 image of Earth from space. They still use Apollo 17 in the news today when they're not even talking about Apollo 17. They use it to represent the Earth. It's from the 70s. You've been seeing it your entire life. And NASA made this image, and now they're starting to use this all the time. Why is this on a fucking DVD talking about Earth from space, and it's not even a real picture? Satellites are supposed to be a hell of a lot farther away than this. Look them up. They don't exist. Because if they did, they would be able to take pictures of the Earth from space. Quit asking me, well, how does my GPS phone work then? They don't fucking exist, you idiot. This is ridiculous. Do you think this is real? Hubble Space Telescope. If you go to a university and you study astronomy, they're going to be showing you Hubble Space Telescope images. The Hubble Space Telescope had fake underwater spacewalks done on it because NASA does their spacewalks underwater. You can even catch bubbles in the water. The Hubble Space Telescope does not even exist. You're looking at a fake bullshit image. The fucking thing doesn't exist. And they show these images all over the world, universities all over the world. You don't even have to be a fucking astronomy major. You should be taking astronomy and they'll be showing you fake bullshit. I typed Earth from space and a lot of bullshit came up. And for some reason, I searched for Nova. No, I didn't fucking type Nova. Earth from space, fuck. Okay, here we are. Now we're in real bullshit territory. This image always comes up. You'll see people always use this image. It's computer graphic. Even Nostalgia Critic used it recently as a thumbnail in one of his videos. People need pictures of the Earth. They just get whatever. They never fucking think about it. You're shown computer graphics. Here's NASA's composite. And even if you thought that was a real image of Earth from space, you would have to ask yourself, why in the fuck does it keep coming up? What if you were fascinated with pictures of the Earth from space? You just kept getting the same fucking images over and over and over again. Would you figure it out then? Look at this. That's an Apollo image. That's supposed to be a real picture of the Earth from space. Right below it is that fucking composite again. They even show you that they make this. They show you how they made this from scratch. And the people can't figure out there are no pictures. These are not real. CIA, can you please get to NASA and tell them to make some fucking pictures of the Earth? Because it's really embarrassing that billions of people can't figure this out. If NASA made fucking thousands of pictures of Earth from space, at least there'll be an excuse why the sheeple can't figure this shit out. They get billions of dollars, they can't make pictures of the Earth from space? Where the fuck is that money going? Not real. Not real. Here's that shitty composite. And this is obviously not real. What do people think when they see this? And then it's surrounded by bullshit. Here's some bullshit. That's not real. I typed Earth from space. I didn't type computer bullshit or physical model or composite. I typed Earth from space. Why the fuck don't they come up? Brainwashed your entire life. The Apollo 17 image of Earth from space is literally in every single science book, and people can't figure it out. Now you see this composite that keeps coming up? Here it is again. There are other images that come from this composite model. This composite comes from the same fucking model. I'll show you it again. There it is again. The clouds are exactly the same. Nobody even bothers changing the clouds on this fucking thing. There it is again. You might as well memorize the cloud configurations on this composite NASA model because you're going to see it your entire life. Now someone slightly modified it. Here it is a little bit different this time, but the clouds are exactly the same. So this doesn't really qualify as NASA's composite anymore. Now it's fucking art because they slightly changed it. Look at this shit. Why isn't anybody asking where are the pictures of Earth from space? Nobody asks that fucking question. Here's the Apollo 17 image flipped, so it looks slightly different, and Vin Diesel is in front of it. So now it's a completely new image of Earth from space. If you haven't figured it out already, this is a complete fucking joke. Not from me, but from your global controllers. Here's the Apollo 17 image again. It's flipped upside down. Actually, that's how it was in its original state. They flipped it upside down initially. Here's a composite again. Somebody fucking put a different background behind it. I mean, it's still a composite. It's still not a real image of Earth from space, and it still comes up in the fucking image search. Fine Art America. If you wanted a picture of Earth from space, would you really want it to come from a fucking artist? Here's that composite again. Different background. Still not real. Fantasy shit comes up. You type Earth from space in an image search, and shit like this will come up. Or shit like this. It's not real. Here's that composite flipped on its side. Now there's a reason why this is happening. People have no fucking pictures of the Earth to choose from. They keep reusing the same images over and over and over again because real pictures don't exist. You'll see this with the Apollo 17 image. It'll be flipped on its fucking side. Here's Apollo 17 again. It's not going anywhere. You're going to continue to see this image in the news in the future. It's not going anywhere. At least right here it's slightly more appropriate because it comes from that timeline when we supposedly landed on the moon. And here's that fucking composite. It's going to come up. You're going to see this image your entire life unless NASA makes new images. And yes, they would have to make them because they're complete fraud. Here's that composite again from a slightly different angle. The clouds are exactly the same. Nobody changes them. This even comes up in documentaries as video. They'll show you the Earth, and the clouds will be exactly the same, except this time it's rendered in video. Earth from space and fantasy shit comes up, where NASA gets billions of dollars. What do you think they're doing with that money? Here's that composite again. Nobody's falling for that one. But space.com, yeah, you want comedy, go to space.com. They show nothing that reflects reality. Everything that's on space.com is fucking fraud of this global control. Space.com is a complete fucking joke. So if you wanted to see a real picture of the Earth and you were looking for them and this came up, would that bother you? It's obviously not a real picture. What if you wanted to see an actual photograph that didn't come from the Apollo missions, that wasn't fucking over 40 years old? What would you think when you can't find them? Space.com is a joke. The Hubble Space Telescope doesn't even exist. And you'll see article after article of the Hubble fucking Space Telescope, which had underwater spacewalks done on it. The images are all fake. And then they show you Freemasons. They tell you that they went to the moon 6 times in 4 years. Nobody can figure out that this is complete bullshit. And the truth is, we're being lied to every single day. The world is that controlled. The countries do not have their sovereignty. They're controlled and they're lying to their own people. The space programs of the world powers are fake. They're fraud. They're bullshit. They can't even take a picture of the Earth. Nuclear weapons don't even exist. You need to start looking at evidence because you're being lied to every single day. We are the sheeple. We are the masses. We are controlled by millions of people all over the world that are involved in this global corruption. And like I said, with some of the most famous faces that you see on television that are lying to you are fucking Freemasons. Freemasons don't run the world. The Illuminati doesn't run the world. But the world is controlled. Basically, the people are controlled. And there's a lot of people involved in this corruption, and they benefit from it. And yeah, there are people calling the shots, but the point is you are controlled, and you're lied to every single day. Start looking at evidence and stop being lied to.
It's a fake.
Someone else?
No. Oh, sorry, I was making gestures at me out there in the audience, so I'm not sure what I'm trying to interpret. I mean, I think the kinds of, I didn't have a specific activity or a thing, like John said, that inspired me, but so much as being able to do problem solving, right? And the thing that we do here, and NASA does, and JPL does, is we solve problems. And we solve problems that involve, obviously very state-of-the-art activities, but also things that require large teams of people working together in a really intimate way that is really different, I think, than almost any other human endeavor. It's amazing to solve a problem as complicated as landing on the surface of Mars, where you're utterly dependent on, a team of 100 or 200 or 1,000 other people to do their parts and to do it to solve their problems.
With the Aerotech News and Review up in Lancaster, what am I really seeing in that photo that is behind you? And I heard something about a second photo, shadow of the Curiosity being, and wheels, or a wheel of the Curiosity. So could you lead me through that photo? Maybe John or Adam or somebody. Thank you.
Well, I can just tell you, yes, what you're seeing in the first picture that you said, that was the shadow of Curiosity there in the view. These are the rear HAZ-CAM views, so we're looking out the back of the rover. I don't think we got any of the front HAZ-CAMs. Oh, is it front? Okay. Thank you. It's front. There we go. The other one is the rear, and that is the wheel you see in the lower corner there. We do expect to get more pictures back in this upcoming Odyssey Pass, which hopefully will be in about 25 minutes here, so we'll get yet more pictures. And these images were actually through the cover. And actually, if you go back to the other one for a second, and you switch to the other picture, you can see those little speckles around the black little dots or speckles around the outside, which is probably dust kicked up, during the landing event that's stuck onto the covers. And so it's good that we have covers because now we'll take those covers off, and hopefully those specks of dust will not be visible in the next set of pictures we get.
Okay. Burkhard with the New Yorker. I may be imagining this, but the one time during the landing the temperature seemed to drop in the room was when Adam asked for OD 278, and they said, no, we only have 277. What was happening, or was it anything of significance?
Double cheeseburger.
Triple cheese.
Double?
Double cheese, next.
Can I have fries with that?
No fries, no fries. Chips, no Coke, Pepsi. Cheeseburger, double the best.
No. We are, as we're coming in, the navigators are continuing to make OD's orbital determination where the spacecraft is and updating, and they all have numbers, an estimate, an estimate, an estimate. And they get better as Mars grabs us and the pull of Mars reduce some of the inherent uncertainty in that estimate. While that's going on, while EDL is happening, in the EDL war room in a different building, we were seeing it on some of the cameras, the flight dynamics team is running simulations to the ground with our simulation tool based on those updated ODs. And so I'd seen that OD had 228 come up, and I was asking if they had that, because I had it, and they didn't have it over there yet, and they hadn't started. That was what that was about.
Let me get a new question over here.
Ian Thompson from the Red.
At the forefront of the scientific frontier. So I really want to personally congratulate on behalf of myself, but also on behalf of my boss, President Obama, the team here at JPL at NASA and around the country that contributed to spectacular achievement. Data and new understandings are going to be uncovered in the coming days, months, and years because of this success. Landing the Mars Science Laboratory rover, Curiosity, on the surface of the Red Planet was by any measure the most challenging mission ever attempted in the history of robotic planetary exploration. About the status of U.S. leadership in space. Well, there's a one-ton automobile-sized piece of American ingenuity.
There is not. You don't believe it.
And And it's sitting on the surface of Mars right now.
No, it's not.
And it should certainly put any such doubts to rest.
No evidence of it is theorist, and in fact, you need to prove your case that you believe that there's some foreign object on another world that man put there tonight. Otherwise, you're just a stinking liar.
Is committed to a vibrant and coordinated strategy of Mars exploration and planetary exploration more generally here on Earth and throughout the solar system. So congratulations again, and long live American curiosity. Thank you.
Can we not do this? Let's not do this.
And while that reaches out and explores and conquers and engineers, we are theorists, pioneers, and that's reflected in the activities and actions and results of tonight. So I want to say thank you to the blue shirts. Groups of folks that I'd like to thank, that I think we all are thankful for. Certainly, the drama of us all being able to experience it together comes through the efforts of the Odyssey project and the Odyssey spacecraft and that team being able to get that bent pipe UHF telemetry to us.
Let me wait for a microphone to come over to you, and go ahead and give us your name and affiliation right there in the middle of the road. Go ahead, Greg.
American space. And tell us about the landing.
Good question.
All right, Greg. It looks good. In short, it looks extremely clean. We had conditions that were on the more benign side of our nominal expectation. We did, by the way, I want to preface everything. This is the control room during the celebration, right? Largely by my good
I
friends
Leave It to
Martinez
Beaver playing in the
somewhere
other
out there.
room, and that's actually a better show.
I hope. At any rate, very nominal, remarkably good. Our navigation error was on the low side of our expectation, which meant that we probably had a good alignment between the celestial sensors and the inertial sensors.
Man, do you think that you should have expected at least that first question? You claim that you go to Mars, and you're not even ready for the question, hey, what was it like to land on Mars?
We landed with 140 kilograms of fuel reserves.
Which means nothing.
400 kilos that we carried in. And we're going to Ben worked quite diligently in stretching the tanks at my insistence because I was worried we wouldn't have enough fuel. And so
Can we go over how you did that exactly? Exactly. Send us the data.
It looked good and clean. And it looks, at least by my eyeball, that we landed in a nice flat spot. Beautiful. Really beautiful.
Change your
That was
understanding
terrible.
for Miles O'Brien with PBS
That was
News.
a terrible
Arizona.
answer.
What
You look more attractive than mine.
I won't tell him that, Adam.
Okay.
I think he heard it.
What?
Wait, what?
I I have to ask you, what kind of file type? Can you tell us about the image file type and compression that was used to send this very important couple of thumbnails back from Mars?
Yes, unfortunately, I absolutely cannot. If Justin Mackey is in the room, or there's a couple other people on the team who deal with that quickly, but I couldn't tell you. Sorry.
Okay, going across the front here. Let me just wait for my printer. Right there, thank you.
Hi, Sally Rail with Planetary Society, and this is for Adam. Two very quick questions. Well, first one's quick. Are you going to call your daughter Curiosity?
Next question.
Television. The unmanned spaceflight website has coordinates for the landing that go down to something like 5 decimal points. I just wanted to confirm with you that those you do have those sort of coordinates. And am I reading those coordinates correctly when I see that it looks as though you've landed within 500 meters of the skirt around the mountain? That, I mean, you're really very close to the mountain at the closer end in the landing ellipse, and possibly within striking distance of the phyllosilicate trench.
I can't confirm that. My estimate, I'm looking for somebody, yes. There's somebody in the audience here who has that in the tip of their noggin. We should have soon that estimate, but I don't have it to 5 decimal places. We wouldn't report it to that because we're certain that we don't know it to that. And I don't know what the unmannedspaceflight.com estimate is.
Yeah, there's a team of people that are
the world of STEM hasn't figured out a way to remind people that iPhone and that iPad and that, all the code that makes Twitter and Facebook work, it all comes from, people that have an education around STEM.
So you get involved in stuff like FIRST Robotics. We have footage of you being a part of that whole experience and getting
art sat on top of it. So now that we have all these new tools, we have to create a new marriage between art, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and that is called STEAM, S-T-A-M. So that's what I want to put that A in that STEM to create some steam.
All right, well, while you're here, I understand you wanted to do a shout out.
A shout out?
A shout out to some of the kids out there?
Oh, a shout out.
A shout out to some of the kids out there?
Oh, a shout out.
A shout out to some of the kids out there?
Oh, a shout out.
A shout out to some of the kids out there?
Oh, yes, I want to shout out to all the kids that joined up in Boyle Heights for my I Am College track program.
So we're here in the Surface MSA, and the Surface MSA is the control room for surface operations, just like we had the control room where we're just watching for cruise operations. And basically after launch, while the cruise team was flying the mission to Mars, the surface team was getting ready for surface operations, practicing, learning how to operate the rover on the surface, writing new software for the surface operation, and doing all of that testing and training here in this room. And we wanted to have a separate facility so that we didn't get in the way of cruise, and cruise didn't get in the way of surface.
So this team will take care of figuring out all the commands and sending those commands up to Curiosity from here on out.
That's right. Everything's going to run from this room, and we're going to be here for about 3 months. And then if we get good enough at it, we're going to send a lot of our scientists back to their home institutions, and they can do a lot of it by remote telecom and by web services, things like that. But for the next few months, we're all going to be here, all hundreds of people operating the rover every day.
So tell us what we're here for tonight, the downlink. We did have a downlink during the actual landing, and this is another one. This one happened, just about now?
It's about now. And so they're recording all the EDR events and then transmitting that back to the Earth. Right, and that's how come we're able to hear the great commentary that Al Chen was saying. He was reading the telemetry that Odyssey was sending. Now, Odyssey flies over Mars, or points on Mars about every 2 hours. So now it's about 2 hours later after EDL, and Odyssey's going to fly over Curiosity again. Now, Mars has rotated. It's not the best for communications, but it should be good enough to give us another update on the rover health.
make sure that the rover is still happy and safe on the surface, and that a couple of key events that we think are important have happened. Fire some pyro devices to release the arm mechanisms and other parts of the rover that we need on surface. Also deploy the HazCam covers, which allows us to take a little bit better images, very similar images.
Video, an animation that shows the removal of the dust covers, and that's what's happening right about now.
That's right.
Do we have the...
Okay, it may be coming or it may not. So basically we have two clear covers on the HazCam, so it may not be obvious to folks at home that the pictures that we've seen so far are actually taken through those covers. But if you look carefully, you have a little bit of view from those covers. So we get rid of those covers, and we can take those images again, front and rear. And we also have downsampled those. We've compressed those images a little bit so that we haven't seen the full quality of those photos yet. But we're going to send back a little bit higher quality photo on this pass. So get rid of the cover and send a better quality image down to the earth.
All right. I hear Jessica Samuels speaking right now, flight director, and we're going to take a break and listen in.
It is a low elevation path, and it is not necessarily expected to be a lot of data volume on this path.
Yeah, I went ahead and used my special powers to go back into time, and I'm here on board Apollo 11 with Buzz and Neil, and the third guy that nobody remembers. No, I'm just kidding, man. Go ahead and take it easy over there. No, seriously. Phil Collins, everyone. Phil Collins.
20 seconds and counting.
How you doing? Neil, Buzz. I always forget what your name is.
12. Ignition sequence start.
The buckle says up, but then I'm not. It says down too. Okay.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff
Probably doesn't matter.
11.
Never mind.
Tower cleared.
We got a roll program.
Hey, this is a pop-up mission control. Go ahead and roll to the side over to Roger and out. Roger, you seem to be tilted to your right.
Plus 30 seconds.
Hey, Dave, did you go ahead and send up that pound? Hey, Pompo, I can't talk about that right now. I'll talk about it later once I get up. Roger.
Hey, what's the switch to, guys?
Roger. Meanwhile...
The same from 2001.
Docking procedure Alpha. Roger.
Window, right? Roger. Go for station, Capcom. Confirm and board out, Roger.
Hey, Neil, go ahead and bust the move on that thruster.
Staging,
Over.
Roger.
Roger.
Flight final trajectory confirmed staging. Roger. Flight booster then board out was way early. Okay. Flight confirmed. Down. Roger. There's the only thing at the bottom of that, negative, not right now, Brian.
Quadrant of the lower left.
Go for station, Capcom.
Roger that. Landing now.
Confirm and board out,
Fire the
Brian.
thruster. Massive thruster first.
Staging,
Fired.
Flight final trajectory confirmed
Sound
staging.
being heard.
Roger. Flight booster then board out was way early. Okay. Flight confirmed. Down.
This moon landing sucks.
There's the only thing at the bottom of that, negative, not right now, Brian.
This is NASA. Go ahead.
Pop-up mission control. Go ahead.
Yeah, NASA.
Roll
We
to
can't
the
seem
side
to
over
find the
Roger
moon.
and out.
Sir, are you calling Nassau City Council?
Roger,
This
you
is
seem to be
Nassau,
tilted to
Nebraska.
your right.
Oh no, sorry, I was calling NASA. NASA, over, Roger. By the way, in Nebraska, clear the line.
Hey, Dave, did you go ahead and send up
Roger,
that pound?
NASA.
Hey,
Pompo, I can't talk about that right now.
Roger.
I'll talk about it later once I get up. Is this the moon?
Roger.
Oh, that's wonderful, Roger. Just steady your cam. Stop shaking so much.
Confirm and board out, Brian.
Tell John Glenn to stop moving.
Staging, Roger. Flight final trajectory confirmed staging.
Roger.
Roger. Flight pushed to landing board out was way early. Okay. Flight confirmed. Pilot down. Roger.
Wonderful, wonderful.
You don't see any problem with that,
Whoa.
do you? Negative, not right now, flight. We're going, flight.
We're going to move to
Go for
separation
station,
camp. Try and clear up the image. Roger.
Confirming board out, flight.
That's a 10-4.
Hey Neil, go ahead and bust a move on that.
Staging,
thruster
flight.
rocket.
Roger.
Over.
Flight final trajectory confirmed staging. Roger.
We're moving away
Flight landing board
from
out was way early.
Infinity.
Okay.
Calibration. Okay, come into...
You don't see any problem with that, do you? Negative, not right now, flight. We're going, flight. Roger. Go for station, Capcom. Confirming board out,
I'm
flight.
actually traveling.
Roger. Flight final trajectory confirmed staging. Roger.
NASA
Flight
over.
pushed to landing board out was way early. Okay.
Hey, this is Papa, man. How'd you get up to the moon so quick?
You don't see any problem with that, do you? Negative, not right now, flight.
Yeah, man. I kind of...
Hey, this is a Papa Mission
Not
Control.
really.
Go ahead and
I'm
roll to
observing
the
moon,
side
quite
over,
frankly,
Roger,
but
and now.
This is... here we go, Roger.
Okay, go ahead. Send Roger, you send your
observations,
tilted to
Roger.
the your right.
I'm looking at a crater actually outside of my 1020.
Roger, what do you say? Hey, Dave,
Roger.
did you go ahead and send up that pound?
Actually, Pompo.
Hey, Pompo, I can't talk about that right now. I'll talk
looks
about it
like
later once I get
if
up.
they were bulls, I'd
Roger.
pack 'em full and smoke them, Roger.
Roger.
We're going, flight. Roger. Go for station, Capcom. Confirming board out, flight. Roger.
Hey, Neil, go ahead and bust a move on that
Staging,
thruster
flight.
rocket.
Roger.
Over.
Flight final trajectory confirmed staging. Roger. Flight pushed to landing board out was... Go for station, Capcom.
Hey, Dave, it's me. Does he keep saying jack off?
Go for station, Capcom. Go for station, Capcom. Go for station, Capcom.
It's a fake.
If we wish to
Debris Drone 1 has added some new red space debris to their animation. Isn't that cool? They still show it all traveling in unison with each other. In real life, space debris would start getting spread out over time as it constantly circled the Earth. I think that's common sense. Why do they show this like this?
With millions of pieces of space debris,
It travels together and then Space Debris Drone 1 comes behind it and swoops it up, which is not a real-world situation if the physics would even allow such a thing.
Imagine this.
And they get away with this. And they pretend it's such a danger. It doesn't matter what size the space debris is. If it's traveling at 17,500 miles an hour and it's in orbit, it can even kill an astronaut doing a spacewalk. It could destroy a satellite. No matter what its size. It could be smaller than a grain of sand. It's incredibly dangerous. But it's space debris. It wouldn't be traveling at 17,500 miles an hour. And you'll also hear that there's air molecules up there. So it'll be slowed down, which means it'll start accelerating towards the Earth. It can't orbit. It's impossible.
Once in range of its target, Debris Drone 1 deploys
But
5 sets
if you
of
research
single
satellites and you look at lectures, people are told that once you put something into orbit, it stays in orbit. That people are told all kinds of shit because none of this is reality. It's completely made up. So it doesn't matter what you tell the sheeple. You show them computer animations and you have lectures where you tell them whatever the hell you want and they will believe you.
with super adhesive.
This thing has a camera on it. They can't show you the video from this camera. They tell you that they track this space debris. How do you track space debris that's smaller than a grain of sand? How are they tracking all of this debris? Why do they pretend it all travels together? If it went around the Earth enough times, it would start crisscrossing. It's not traveling all in a single trajectory and this thing could just swoop everything up. And then they pretend Debris Drone 1 is useless when it reaches its max payload and has to be destroyed. There it is being destroyed. So they have to send multiple Debris Drone 1s into space with their little claw and treat it like a video game, and they grab the space debris and they put it in a box. And they can't show you video of this operation because it's bullshit. Adults are perfectly fine believing in computer animations, and that's all they'll get.
It shows the Earth surrounded by
The public are being told really crazy shit. Doesn't even make sense. There's contradictions. Learn about Freemasons that are used to lie to you every day. Learn of the Jesuit order. There's even profound fraud in science.
Slingsat may be just the one for the job.
Slingsat.
Basic idea behind Slingsat.
What if this thing collides with Debris Drone 1?
That collects debris at the ends of adjustable.
How is this thing in operation?
Adjusting the length.
Does this thing have a camera on it? Can we see video of this? Or is this all that the public will get?
Setting the ejection angle is just a matter of timing when.
Does anyone have a problem with this? You think NASA does science, but you don't have a problem with this animation? And satellites are old technology in geostationary orbit, thousands of satellites. They can take pictures all day long. There could be millions of pictures of Earth from space, but you get fake shit repeatedly, the same images over and over again. And then the Slingsat satellite. You believe this is real? You believe this is science? You believe in space debris? Stop believing in shit. Learn real facts for once so you can start spotting the bullshit. Because the lies are incredible and they never end. And this will go on for decades more. I can't imagine them faking a Mars mission, but they might actually do it. And the truth is, NASA does nothing in space. Nobody is doing anything in space. The world governments are corrupt, controlled, leaders are installed, you have the illusion of choice, and this is all bullshit. Nobody is doing anything in space. Satellites are a joke. Research satellites. Write the science down for yourself. Know how they function, because you can't do that. They have contradictions. They have different stories. You're not going to be able to know how satellites function. You're going to have to pick and choose what information you're going to believe in. This is all bullshit.
It's a fake.
If there's one thing I've learned, there's very few people that actually want to be told the truth. Very few. They want to be told something that is in line with what they think, therefore they can run around talking nonsense. That plane's not there. That's a Photoshop. You can see that. Now moving to when they show you to you in the air, you can see that that's a hologram. You can see that that is a hologram, just like the moon, just like almost everything else you're going to see up in the sky that you think is outer space or something, a phenomenon or a meteor, any of that. That's all going to be shown to you, just like this, as a hologram, because that's a big screen up there. What do you think that cloudy substance is for? All right, it reflects the light and shows you whatever you want to see. So I'll keep this basic. If you walk away from this video saying anything different than what you heard, you're a liar. Straight up. Live with that. Bye.
Look at the two spheres. One of them is rotating. Through the force of precession, it doesn't move as much. But look at the one on the left. It should be moving in a straight line. Instead, it has this strange curved trajectory. This is not outer space. This is a hoax. And if they're going to fake one thing in outer space, the whole thing is fake. If the International Space Station was really available, they wouldn't go through all this. I mean to do a more in-depth video on this, and I will at some point. You can read more in the video description.
I think what we're going to do is to just talk about
numerous astronauts and cosmonauts over the years, right before they made their
These
own
guys are the
journeys into
latest
space.
three liars going up to,
well,
going nowhere actually, but they'll tell you they're going to the ISS. Keep an eye on the middle guy.
Then the crew members received a traditional blessing
This guy
from Russian
is
Orthodox
forever
priests.
wiping his face and forever grabbing people and doing all kinds of stuff. These guys are supposed to be going to space, and if you recall back in the 60s when they pulled this hoax, remember they all had to be isolated and couldn't be touched. These guys are walking out of some shabby hotel. They're about to check out this guy with his hand in his pocket on the left. He's going to grab at this guy. He's going to shake his hand, and they both have like a bunch of filth or slime or whatever, so they wipe off their hand. They're like, yucky. I forgot I was supposed to. He reminds me of the guy from the Inspector Clouseau. Remember with the laughing gas? In Clouseau, I will kill you.
and Reed Wiseman of NASA on the right.
These guys aren't astronauts, man. Look at these guys fake grabbing at him. Look at them. They're not even grabbing at him. They're just putting their hand into the frame. They're making him look out to be like rock stars or something. Idiot. So anyways, recall, if you will. Okay, now they do the little touching family thing, and the little girl looks away. That's not my daddy.
You can see the bus departing.
No, I just find it funny. I find it real funny that they're in a room with a wooden stove walking, right? Like he's really moving his feet around. He's like, oh, help me sit down. Help me move. Okay, move this in. Okay. Oh, thank you. Oh, it's really tough going right there. Woof. Really tough stuff. Yeah, help me move the chair in. Now let's watch this last guy. I call this guy like the, I don't know, he's kind of like the jock character. Always waving forever, like smiling too much. And then watch him when he gets off. He just whips that chair underneath him like he owns the place. He's like, man, I don't need no help from you. You know, that just proves that all they're doing is fake movements. They're pretending. Now here's the fake touching conversation with the kids. How high are you going to be? 25? That's your 7? That's a liar.
We'll give Max gravity, and Max will hang him up on the hatch, and then we'll close the hatch. Make sure he looks just right, and then
Now notice the reflection of the kid in the glass and the hands right below his chin. Watch the hands. It's going to be a classic now you see it, now you don't trick. Make no mistake about it. There is no chance that is not there for a reason. No chance whatsoever. Watch again.
right now, and then I'll get in first, and I'll go get in my seat, and this guy named Ildar, a very good guy, he's going to strap me all in, and then he'll strap Alex in, and then when Max comes down, Ildar will give Max gravity, and Max will hang him up on the hatch, and then we'll close the hatch, make sure he looks just right, and then we'll be ready to roll.
Sounds technical.
I am unbelievably excited. Excited to go with it. I don't know. Hopefully I'm just...
How far do you think that from Earth?
I will only be about 250 miles. So, like from Texas...
Okay, now watch this idiot. He's like, oh yeah, okay, I got this, man.
Is a hoax. It's faked in the hull of an airplane performing parabolic flight in order to simulate zero gravity. All manned space travel is fake. No one has even been in low Earth orbit. Spacewalks are faked in a float tank. That's why a gallon of water leaked into the guy's spacesuit and he literally almost drowned in space a few months ago. And there's a bubble coming up showing the fakery. Recently there was a National Geographic broadcast, supposedly from space, and here's Soledad O'Brien as she flicks to the people in the International Space Station. Now have a look at their feet. There's stabilization bars, blue stabilization bars. The guy in the blue on the right, he's twisting slightly to the right and he lifts up his left knee in order to counteract that rotation. For every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So he lifts up his left leg in order to counterbalance the rotation that comes from the uneven movement of the aircraft as it flies through the air. You can't help but experience these small movements. If this was a real spacecraft, there would be absolutely no movement whatsoever. It would be extremely unexpected and unwelcome if it moved in orbit. There are not a whole bunch of jets on the outside of the International Space Station constantly readjusting its orbit. That's not how things in orbit work. You put them in orbit, you get the exact trajectory, and they stay on track. Now, if you have a look at these two guys, they're using these blue stabilization bars constantly in order to steady themselves. Have a look at those feet adjust back and forth, and he's using that blue stabilization bar to try and stay steady. Constantly back and forth movement. Now he starts to rotate slightly. His feet start to move to his right.
Wow. So Rick, earlier Katie was giving me
right there, and he lifts up his left leg to try and counterbalance the rotation. As he moves away from there, he moves forward.
What's in
And once again, he hangs on to the bar on the side with his left hand to stabilize himself. This should not be happening in space. Now, this is the same thing sped up. Have a look.
I bust it before I put this thing up. She's let me just show you. It's coming up soon. So anyways, each one of these clowns go through. Look, they're on another rug in this dirty old dusty room, pretending to get ready to go into space, don't you know?
With the 3 cosmonauts, you'll see
with all this high-tech equipment
backup crew for tonight's launch.
right here.
It's Anton Schapler,
Checking the pressurized pressure suit
Samantha Christopher Reddy,
of the
another
Koborski
European Space
poopy
Agency
suits.
astronaut, and NASA astronaut Terry Vernon.
Look how hard, no, watch this guy. Watch how hard he's pretending that he has to walk. And watch as this goes on. As this happens, these guys forget this is supposed to be hard to do. And they're going to start just moving their arms about and swing around. In fact, when Baldy here pulls up his chair, because he's the third one to go through this little hoax scenario, he'll just whip that chair under him like he's just stepping into a bar, man. Right here, that woman, man. Yeah, anyways, this is a side point, but that looks like a dead ringer for the character under plastic surgery, once known as Marcia Clark, the so-called O.J. Simpson prosecutor. She had some plastic surgery done, which is well known. That absolutely, to me, looks like the same character. So, of course, the O.J. Simpson trial, you know, you knew that was a hoax, right? All of that stuff. That goes back to Capricorn 1. That goes back to the movie O.J. Simpson played in. The fake Mars landing, hoax, lie.
Behind a protective pane of glass to maintain their quarantine status.
See, it's all just a big joke. See how the thing's not even closed? Give me a break,
NASA
son.
and European Space Agency officials
Come on
and managers,
now.
along with the friends and family.
These are literally props, movie props. You can see that, right? These are movie props. All these guys are now, they're starting to get tired. See, so they're forgetting protocol now. They're just all standing around. See, watch this guy. See how they're supposed to be helping him move like it's really tough? Watch how he's all hunched floor and they're on a Persian rug. Okay, maybe Turkish, something. You get the point. Even maybe a nice Eastern Chinese.
Being prepared here.
And they're putting together this suit, and they're calling it a space. And here he goes with the washing, his wiping and washing, and always for grabbing people. It's probably because he's sweating. You know what happens is when you dye your hair,
and that was about 4.5 hours.
the next day you're all sweaty because he over dyed it, so his scalp's sweating, and that's what's happening. Because you can tell he just dyed his hair. It's a horrible, horrible dye job. Alright, but that's not even the main point. The main point is nobody's going into space. Look at this. It looks like it's in some... So they have this equipment on rickety tables, on Persian rugs, whatever, in a room. In a room full of dust. And finally you see air masks. Or not air masks, but just the face covers. But their hands are uncovered. Right? You do see all this is all a big joke. So now let's move forward to the... to where they're talking to their family, and they're putting these little suits into use.
Thank you.
All right. Poopy suits. Poopy suits. Poopy suits. Poopy suits. Poopy 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 suits.
And at this point, you can see each of the crew members conducting those pressurization checks on their Soka launch and entry suits. These again done to ensure the
Yeah, you might want to go ahead and rethink that.
integrity of all of the seals on the suits prior to the crew making their way to the launch pad.
There's a woman coming up in the audience here. I want you to take a real good look at. Not that one. The one that's in the audience. She's going to be on the cell phone. We're going to grab a snapshot of her because I watched this twice and she looks very, very familiar to me. And I would like